World building, continuity, character, plot. It's more than a linear path. It's a prism of endless choices where a single concept can branch out into endless possibilities, creating stories you've never known. I am Mordok, and I'm your guide through this hell of writing. Come with me and ponder the question, why did you do this? Hello, pleasure to be meeting you, quite a pleasure. Marvel's What If is supposed to be about one small choice that changed everything about the status quo of the MCU. But considering how bad Phase 4 already was, it's no surprise that they messed it up. We open on a recap of what happened in Captain America the First Avenger before jumping to a different universe, or I guess timeline. We enter on Steve and Peggy talking about the fact that if this works, Steve can end the war.
If this works, you could end the war.
Not counting that this conversation did not happen in the movie, though I guess it could have happened off screen, we already have a problem. Steve was never supposed to end the war single-handedly. The super soldier serum was supposed to be tested on him so they could then make an army of super soldiers who could fight for the Allies in World War II.
We mere mortals can only dream of doing such things.
Oh god. What mere mortals? Peggy. He's going to be faster and stronger than a normal man. He's not going to be a god. Normal people can still challenge and even kill him. And you might think, oh, it's only a saying. And yes, I can agree with that. But what we see of her in the movie, I don't believe that Peggy would say something like this either way. She was always kind of a no-nonsense, straight-to-the-point kind of person. And I don't believe she would say something so hyperbolic. We move down to the professor and the general man, where they ask if Peggy would not like it better in the booth.
Agent Carter, wouldn't you be more comfortable in the booth?
No, I'd prefer to stay.
Agent Carter, don't you think you would be more comfortable in the booth?
Oh yes, of course, sorry.
She wouldn't be allowed to stay anyway. The booth is to keep the spectators safe and out of the way. That's the whole point of an auditorium like that in a lab. She says that she would like to stay. Her staying is the one thing that changed. Okay, fine. Except it doesn't work. First off, they wouldn't ask her this, and secondly, she wouldn't be allowed to stay either way, because why would you have a bunch of people, important people at that, standing in the middle of a dangerous science experiment? And thirdly, her decision not to enter the booth should not influence every other person's decision. Oh, what the fuck. In the movie, everyone was in the booth. He's checking that the serum doesn't kill or injure Steve. However, in this version, he kills himself. Oh, come on. How pathetically stupid are the writers? They're standing in the explosion. So after that dumpster fire, we see the Nazi man run towards Steve to get the serum. But he turns around to shoot one of the random people who didn't die or even get a scratch from the explosion. And not only that, when he gets shot, in true Marvel fashion, there is no blood. Presumably that means the Nazi man is a good guy. Steve runs towards him to try to stop him, which I would say is entirely in character, stepping up against a bigger and stronger threat. First good thing the show did, which is then followed up by Steve getting shot twice, or at least the sound effects would suggest so. But unless he was shot twice in the same place, the bullet didn't connect, which I don't buy at all. Look at the distance. How bad a shot do you have to be to miss that? And as shown in the actual movie, this guy is a pretty good shot. Peggy then shoots Nazi man and runs to Steve. And then Stark says, we do this or we lose the project. Which is kinda true, but remember, the most important thing here is the serum, not the tech. That can be rebuilt, the serum can't, considering the person who made it just got blown up. So just run over and grab them. Though he might be talking about the fact that they won't get funded again. So now Steve has been shot, and Stark doesn't want to get the serum. They also state that this is their only shot, and that this stuff is expensive. But again, you can rebuild it. The serum is the most important part. So Peggy steps up to take the serum, but General Man doesn't want her to. So he shouts for her to stop, but she doesn't listen. She's going to take the serum. Though now I ask myself, if you don't want her to take it, I mean, go stop her. You're a few feet away, and you're a grown man. You can overpower her. But she gets in anyway, and is injected with the serum. Somehow, the machine still works with all this going on. May I just add that I hate this trope in movies. Everything is blowing up and burning, but the thing you're using still works, or just the opposite happens. You shoot one thing and the whole thing breaks. Can we just have a middle ground? While Peggy's inside the machine, we don't hear a peep from her. I thought that getting the serum was supposed to hurt like a bitch. Well, I guess they forgot, or she's just that good. We get a snappy remark from Howard.
Did it work?
And then some. You won't be needing those hills anymore.
Which may I just add that Howard is the only character here who's actually a character. It's just delightful. Army Man says that it's an absolute failure and that every drop of the serum went into Peggy, which, no, there are 7 of them, not only 6, but I guess it got blown up in the explosion along with Peggy. And on that, if Nazi Man had grabbed the serum and then blown up the place, we could have gotten out. But no, I guess not. There are still plenty of plot holes, character assassinations, and inconsistencies in this episode, but since they already ruined most of it in the first 5 minutes, I'll just skim through some of the most egregious ones. In the film's timeline, Red Skull finds the Tesseract before Steve even enters the military. Here it's after. Peggy not entering the booth had nothing to do with that. Even what he says is different.
Yggdrasil, tree of the world, guardian of wisdom and fate also.
Full of Odin's treasure room, fabled to hold the power to rewrite the very laws of physics and unlock doors across the universe.
What you seek is just a legend.
Then why do you try so hard to hide it?
Peggy would definitely not have anything to do with that. And Red Skull is the one who kills Church Guy. Why change it this much? The General Man is an idiot not caring about the Tesseract, when there's a constant renewable energy source. You realize what humans could do with that. Shield did. Howard gives Peggy the boomerang shield. Steve chose the boomerang shield, not Howard.
Allow you to...
What about this one?
No, that's just a prototype.
What's it made of?
Vibranium.
So the fact that he gives it to Peggy is stupid. It was a prototype. Howard didn't even consider it. Peggy just assumes she can do this jump. Steve was hesitant on a similar jump. She also just knows she can flip a fucking car. And I mean, wow. I don't know if we ever saw Steve do something like that in his early movies and appearances. His most impressive feats were all in his later appearances. Peggy just does it in her first fight. She took on like 20 soldiers with guns all on her own, when not even Steve could do that. This is just embarrassing. Somehow, Howard made an Iron Man suit in 1942. How does he have the technology for that? And it flies, fuck. It's also powered by the Tesseract, which took the whole science division of Hydra to tap into. And he gets a fragment of it in the actual movie, and he damn near blows himself up. He also finds it at the end of the movie, and he doesn't build anything nearly as technologically advanced. The Hydra Stomper, and by proxy Steve, survives this. And at first I assumed that the Hydra Stomper was made out of vibranium, but that can't be the case. He used all the vibranium on the shield. He says so in the movie.
How come it's not a standard issue?
That's the rarest metal on Earth. What you're holding there, that's all we've got.
Red Skull somehow makes a machine that can pinpoint the Hydra so that he can use it as a weapon. And not only does he not have a plan to actually control it, which is stupid, he somehow has the technology to open a portal to a specific place in the universe where there is a Hydra. S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't able to do that, and by extension Hydra all the way in 2012. Loki did it, but he has magic and is from an extremely technologically advanced society. And he used top-tier scientists under mind control working 24/7 on it. This machine would not be able to power the Hydra Stopper. It doesn't have a battery or something to hold the power anymore. Somehow, Peggy is able to hold off 4 of the Hydra's tentacles, and Red Skull was crushed by 1. Did they forget that he has the super soldier serum? And even if he is weaker than Peggy, because of the difference in the serum they were given. It's not by 75%. We can clearly see in the first Avenger that Steve and Red Skull are on pretty much the same playing field when fighting, especially compared to the way Steve handles other opponents who doesn't have the serum. But worst of all, in the horrendous episode, they get the Space Stone so fundamentally wrong that it's not even funny. They use the Space Stone to travel in time. Yes, Peggy Carter gets sent forward in time with the Space Stone, not the Time Stone, the Space Stone. The Space Stone. And she just ends up in 2012 Avengers where Loki showed up in the movie. The fuck is this? So, she gets sent forward in time, meets Nick Fury and Hawkeye, gets told the war ended 70 years ago, and when Fury asks if she's going to be okay, she just says, of course. That seems like a small reaction to figuring out you were sent forward in time. At least Steve was, panicked when seeing Times Square. Not to mention the gut-wrenching line, I had a date.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I had a date.
Instead, we just get her saying, of course. The fucking blue portal teleportation stone mixed up with the green fast forward and fast backward stone. Pathetic. This show is an embarrassment to the MCU, on par with other Phase 4 masterpieces like Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Why is Phase 4 of Marvel so fucking bad? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my very first video. I'm fairly happy with it. I probably made one or two mistakes, or a bunch, and I'm looking forward to making longer and even more in-depth videos in the future. Cheers!